everyone, welcome back to another video. So this has changed my mind about eBay, I think, but something happened yesterday that has kind of changed it back. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I sell stuff online on different platforms, and eBay used to be my main one where I'd sell secondhand clothing, and I recently auctioned off half of everything I had and then moved my existing listings over to Vinted. And there's a few reasons I did that. I'm not saying that eBay's like dead or anything, or you can't sell clothes on eBay, because you can. I just really like Vinted. I love the process of it. It's so simple. I got really fed up of listing secondhand items on eBay, so I opened a second eBay shop, and I'm using that just for brand new items that I buy wholesale, so it's multi-quantity listing, and I'm kind of giving that a go and moving away from the secondhand stuff. Still doing that, just on different platforms. Like I said, I'm not against eBay at all. I just kind of got really burnt out. I think when you do the same thing day in, day out, there comes a point where you're just like, I need change. And listing on Vinted compared to listing on eBay is just such a different thing. Like, Vinted is so easy. You know, on eBay, it's so many things. If you have an item, you have to fill in so many little bits and pieces, and the measuring and just everything kind of, I had enough of it. So I just thought it's time for a change. And you know what, I had quite a few. I'll show you my seller metrics here. Now bear in mind, I haven't sold anything on there for like a month or two or something, but here's my seller metrics. So I had, sorry if all the lights are reflecting in my glasses, that's quite annoying, isn't it? Alright, so I had, out of 601 items, I had 10 items that were not as described cases, and I'd say that only 2 of those were fair enough. I think one was a woolly jumper that had, the lady said, had shrunk in the wash, so under the arms were quite tight, and I think that was completely genuine. The other one, I had mismeasured the waist of a skirt, and so it was bigger than what she bought, so that's totally my doing, my fault. As a business seller, I always accept returns anyway, so even if there is a problem or something doesn't fit, you know, returning stuff is no problem at all. Every seller, I guess, has is buyers abusing the item not as returned option when opening a return case, because if they open a case with that option, they get free returns, you can get a refund that way. So if people buy items that don't fit, which happens a lot with vintage items, as you can see, I didn't get it that much, but still that put my metric as high. And the thing with buying vintage clothing is that vintage sizes are obviously a lot smaller. People were a lot smaller back then than they are now. So I found that even when I put the exact measurements, put it in the title, the description, everything, you're still going to get people that say it didn't fit and it's not as described, which is frustrating because it is as described. And there was just not a lot you could really do, because you have to accept returns, which, like I said, totally fine with returns, but then the seller misses out because they're missing out on the return postage when it wasn't their fault. You know, they did everything they're supposed to do, and it was just kind of a really rubbish loophole that you just kind of had to accept with eBay, which you don't get on other platforms. And I'd kind of had enough of it until yesterday. I got this email, which I'm sure a lot of you got as well, which was about the new enhanced seller protections. Now, I had not heard of this. Maybe I'm late to it and other people already know about it. I have never heard of this, and I was really excited. So I'll bring it up. So here is what it says. They have brought out this partial refund tool. Access to our partial refund tool, which gives top rated and above standard sellers control over how much they refund the buyer if the item is returned in a damaged condition. You can take off up to 50% of the value upon inspection of the returned item. We will also remove defects and negative or neutral feedback associated with that item. So if you sell something and the person uses it, which happens a lot, and then they return it, you now have this option of deciding that you can take off up to 50% of that money, which I thought was amazing. Then underneath that, it also says if someone opens a false case against you, saying it's not as described when it actually is, you can actually get the £3.50 credit towards your return label, but you have to report the buyer before you get it. So both of them things I was really excited about, and I thought, yes, eBay is finally, you know, listening to sellers and try to do something about this annoying loophole. I think that sometimes buyers might not even know that if they click item not as described, that it does affect sellers. So maybe they just don't know that, or maybe they do, I don't know. However, it might not be as good as it actually sounds, because when you look into the first one, which is the partial refund tool, when you actually look into it, it gives you 6 steps of what you've got to do. And look at number 6. It says you have to send offer. So is this partial refund an offer that the buyer has to accept? Obviously, why would they accept it? So what happens when they don't accept it? See, when I first saw this new tool, I was like, yes, they're kind of giving the sellers a bit of control over that annoying little case system that they have, but actually they're not, because number 6 says you have to say, right, I'm going to give you 50%, and then you have to send that as an offer to the buyer. I don't understand that. I would love to know in the comments, please, if anyone has used this and has had some experience of it and can give us some feedback in the comments below. Please let us know how it's worked. Did you have to send an offer that the buyer had to accept? The good thing about it is that it does say if you report the buyer, it will remove any feedback and any defects on your account, which is the main thing, really. So I was really happy when I got that email, because it shows that eBay is listening to sellers and they're not just all about the buyer like they have been in the past. But while I'm here, I will also tell you about this strange thing that I had on eBay, that I'm having, should I say, and ask if anyone else has heard anything like this before, because I don't know if this is just like a regular scam or like a one-off weird thing. This is an issue I've come across with sharing my eBay store on YouTube, which is a shame. But there is downsides to doing that, and I've come across them. So I get a lot of messages over on eBay from people that watch YouTube, so it can kind of take a while to figure out if are people wanting to buy something or are they just wanting to say hi, which is fine. But I started getting emails to my personal email address from people claiming to be from eBay, which really freaked me out, because I wasn't even aware that buyers had access to my email address, but being a business seller, they do. I know they have access to your address details and stuff like that, which is fine because I use a storage unit anyway, because you can never be too careful when you're publicly online. But I did get an email off this person saying that they had bought something off me and then opened a return case. They had returned the item but not received a refund. So I asked them, you know, no, they didn't say it was eBay, sorry. At first they just said they'd bought it, and at the time I was selling on eBay, Etsy, Vinted, you know, everywhere. So I asked them, well, which platform is this on? And they said eBay, and I thought that was strange because, you know, when a buyer opens a case, it doesn't just disappear, you know, so I thought it was strange. But I gave them the benefit of the doubt and thought maybe something has happened, you know, some glitch or something. And I asked them to go back onto eBay and, you know, message me through there so we can sort it out, because, you know, it'll show the item and everything and the case. And they said that they didn't have the option to contact me on eBay, which again, I don't understand. So I asked them their eBay username so I could look through my messages, because they said that they had they had opened a case, and I looked at my cases, no cases. They said I even sent them a return posted label, which I have only had to do about twice, you know, because usually it gets kind of done automatically, but in some circumstances I've had to go and, you know, get a label and send it. So I went into my Parcel to Go, because that's what I use, Parcel to Go account, looked at all my labels, and there wasn't any that like hadn't been used. So I asked the person what the item was, and it is a kind of item that I sell. I couldn't find this person's account. I couldn't find an item that hadn't been delivered or was being returned or anything, so I'm really confused about what that was about. I'm still getting emails off this person. I've told them the only thing I can do is to go through eBay, because, you know, we all know you shouldn't, if you're, you know, selling something on eBay, you shouldn't then go and start emailing people privately, because you can get in trouble for that on eBay. So I asked them, just, you know, please go through eBay, then we can sort it out properly. Yeah, so let me know if you've heard of anyone doing that kind of thing. I have never come across it before, but I just thought it was strange, and it was another thing that did put me off eBay. But I'm really happy to see that they are putting these things out to help sellers, and hopefully it will be a really good tool. But like I said, I would really love to hear of anyone who has actually used it and their experience. Of course, there's always going to be like loopholes that people are going to try and scam you out of money or get free things or free returns and refunds and stuff. It's always going to happen, and I understand that. I understand that it is just, you know, the cost of doing business. You're always going to have items being lost, items being stolen. It's always going to happen, but I just got kind of sick of it. But yeah, let me know what you think of these new seller protection things. And yes, I think they are just for business sellers, which I get a lot of questions about, like, what is the point of being a business seller? It's just like legal. You have to do it if you are a business selling online. You know, you have to be able to show your address. You have to, you know, there's just all the little things like that that you have to do. You have to have contact details, which now I will be setting up a separate email to use for my business contact details on eBay. So I'd suggest you do the same, especially if you're on YouTube. But thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.